Hey, that last piece is mine.
Look out, a murderer.
What?
Oh! You better watch it, buddy. Holy shit, sorry.
Alrighty, what is going on, everyone? So today I'm joined by my first ever comedian guest, ladies and gentlemen, Reuben Solo. How are you today?
I'm just wonderful. How are you?
Yeah, I'm doing well, thanks.
Excellent.
First question, how long have you been doing comedy for, whether it be stand-up, radio, Instagram skits? How long have you been doing comedy?
Kind of a tricky question to answer. So I studied film and television. I did some comedy scripts, but I wouldn't really, I don't know if that's really an answer to the question, but that was in 2016. I graduated 2018.
Right.
So there was some comedy involved there, but I didn't do stand-up until 2019 and very sporadically.
Right.
So didn't start doing that consistently until the start of 2020. And then I started doing sketches that year as well, near the beginning of that year.
So 2020, not a very good year to start doing comedy, because then March you couldn't really do it, so...
Yeah, so the stand-up was a bit sad, but the sketches were good. The pandemic helped probably my career a lot. So shout out to COVID.
I think that's probably the first time anyone's given COVID a shout out in a positive way, so...
Yeah.
Is there a particular comedian or special or movie or anything that sort of made you decide comedy was the direction you wanted to go in?
No.
Okay.
No, I don't know. I guess I had like stand-up in the back of my mind since like late high school maybe, but I don't know. I think the first comedian I really got into was Louis C.K.
Right.
But I don't know when that would have been, sometime in high school. But I didn't really seriously consider stand-up until, after uni.
Are there specific comedians that you sort of take inspiration from, or is it sort of something that you don't really consider?
I wouldn't say I consciously consider it, but of course, it's impossible not to be influenced by other comedians in any sort of art form. It's the same thing. I guess I would say my favorite comedian is James A. Caster, or
Right.
at least at the moment. So I guess you can see sort of stylings of his in my work, but you wouldn't say I'm really anything like him. I don't think. But maybe, I don't know. It's hard for me to say. I'm not really an objective viewer of my own work. So
How would you sort of describe your comedy style, whether it be sort of with the stand-up or the Instagram skits and stuff like that? How would you describe the style of it all?
it's a very tough question to answer. I've thought about this. I had to, I was trying to describe what my show is because I'm listing it for the festival and stuff. I don't even know what genre it is. It's stand-up. It's nothing too out of the norm, but it's a little bit alternative. So I don't know where it fits in. There's observational comedy. There's some absurdism. I don't know. There aren't that many genres of stand-up,
Right.
So it's kind of tough to say exactly what style it is. It's not like music where you can kind of a little bit more easily say, oh, this is, folk punk or whatever. It's there are so many musical genres, but stand-up is not, I don't know, it's just kind of different, and it's not, there doesn't seem to be as much academia around it, so it's kind of hard to say where it fits in. But my sketches, again, I don't know, it's such a tough question. There's elements of absurdism, but I don't know what style it would be. This isn't really a style, but all my scripts and my stand-up very tightly written. So there's very little improv, and I just try and make the scripts just really solid, and they're quite often quite fast-paced, and I try to make the writing as clever as I can. But that's not really a style or a genre, so I don't know.
Yeah, no one really says clever as their style of comedy. It's a bit,
exactly,
bit
yeah.
egotistical.
How about good?
Yeah.
How about great? Yeah, that's the genre I'm in.
So when somebody you meet someone new for the first time, they ask you what you do for a job, how do you sort of describe what you do? Do you say you're a stand-up comedian, a sketch writer, a TikToker? How do you describe your profession?
Luckily, I haven't had to do that too much. I don't really meet new people, thank God. But I would say I'm a comedian, and then if they ask anything further, I would probably say I do sketch comedy and I do stand-up.
Right. So you don't say you're a TikToker?
No, the platform is not really, I don't see how the platform is really relevant. I put them on Instagram, I put them on TikTok, I put them on YouTube.
Obviously, there is a big difference between stand-up comedy and sketches and stuff like that, but what were some of the sort of more subtle differences that you didn't really expect?
I
can ask you an easier question if you want. Like, what's your favorite color?
No, that's harder. Well, I did stand up first before I did sketches, which I guess because I'm far more well known for my sketches, so possibly people don't know that. But I was doing stand up first. In a way, the sketches also was sort of, there were roots in some of the scripts I was writing in at uni and sometimes in high school as well. I don't know. I don't even think about them as like they're just totally different. I don't know. I was always kind of good at writing scripts and writing dialogue. And stand-up is totally different. I don't know. I don't know how to answer the question. I don't even think of them as like they're both comedy, but they're totally different, and I write them in totally different ways.
Right.
Yeah, it's a disappointing answer. I'm sorry.
That's all right. So when you come up with like a joke concept, is it difficult deciding whether you'll adapt it to a stand-up routine or a comedy sketch?
Almost always, I know if it's going to be a sketch or a stand-up thing. It's not like I'm like lying in bed and then a joke concept comes to me. It's like I have to go out and seek the concepts.
Right.
So generally, if I'm seeking a concept, it's for one of the two. I'm like, okay, I need to write. Actually, that's not necessarily true with stand-up. I don't really seek out concepts. Usually, actually, those ones sort of, it's, drawn from some sort of inspiration of real life, I guess.
Right.
Well, actually, I guess there's something you could say. Stand-up is always sort of has an impetus in real life, even if it's not observational, even if it's more absurdist. There's always something. It'll come from a topic that I'll be thinking about, for example, because of what's happening in my life. Whereas with the sketches, they're always super conceptual and they have almost no resemblance to anything that's happening in my life.
Right.
So with those ones, I literally just have a blank page usually, and I'm just like thinking of what's a concept. And then if I find a concept that I'm like, that I think there's comedy in that, then I'll sort of, try to find the premise and then go from there.
Yeah. Were there ever skits or ideas that you came up with that you thought would only have like a 15-second runtime and then that kind of evolved into a full-length YouTube sketch?
Yeah, yes. Yeah, so sometimes it is tough to tell when I come up with an idea if it's going to be for a short one or a long one, because I do the short ones on TikTok and Instagram and then the longer ones on YouTube.
Yeah.
So yes, that has happened. I think it happened recently. I did one recently. This was in reverse actually, where I had it was like an always remember. That was like literally the start of it.
Yeah.
In my brain as well. Always remember is like, it's sort of a cliched line of dialogue for a dying person. So that's the idea for the sketch. I'm like, that's funny. And then there's something that's like where they get interrupted or something like that. So that's the idea for the premise of the sketch.
Listen to me. You're going to be all right. Always remember. Yes. Wait. Huh? Yes. Always. Wait. Sorry. These bloody pens. Listen. Hold on. Sometimes if you suck on it. Always remember. Should have bought a Bic.
I thought that was going to be a YouTube thing. But then I figured I could do it fast enough and come up with a sort of a punchline at the end that would work for a short one. So then I did it that way.
Okay.
But to answer your question about has anything short been long, yes, but not off the top of my head. I can remember.
Okay. Do you want to come back to it later, or?
It's highly unlikely I'll think of it. So.
So at the end of most of your YouTube sketches, it has like not sort of behind the scenes, but like bloopers with the characters. Where did that sort of inspiration come from to sort of have the implication that everyone in the skit is an actor?
Yeah. The idea for that, I can't remember exactly. I remember this the first sketch I did it on, I think, was called Man Who Is Definitely Wearing a Wire, or something like that. And okay. I think the reason I did it, the reason I first did it was because in my sketches, generally, there's no like physical contact between the characters, because otherwise I need a stunt double for that otherwise. But for this sketch in particular, I did require that, because there was a point where they had to rip the wire out of the shirt. And there may have been something else going on that I was thinking about at the time that caused me to think that. I think maybe there was maybe there'd been some YouTube comments about I'm not sure if this was it, but this is also true. Sometimes people will comment stuff like, is this like the same guy, or does he have like a brother or something? Because I guess, I don't know, it seems ridiculous, but I guess if you're not super familiar with sketch comedy or something, that might be your first thought. So maybe there were some comments like that I'd been reading at the time or something. And then I just thought, what if I did like another scene to really, because I knew when at that moment in the sketch where I think it was my mum, who was stunt doubling me, pulled the wire out of my shirt, I knew people were going to go, oh, hang on. That's not possible. How did was that an edit or? So I thought, what if I did like another scene where I did a fake blooper and like really, really tried to fool people. So that was the original idea, and then people really liked it, so I kept on.
Is that something that you sort of continue doing, or like sort of keep trying to ask the question of, is it Reuben solo and someone else, or is it one person?
I think it's become pretty clear at this point. I've done sketches with like 7 characters, and they're all in bloopers. So it's like I don't think he has set tough ones, but who knows?
So I found out about your comedy basically because of Lewis Spears and Luke Kidgel. I'm a big fan of them and their podcast, and you used to be an editor for the podcast. How did that sort of come around to you working for them?
I literally just applied. I think they posted an ad and I saw it on Facebook probably, and I sent a resume, and I think I was looking at jobs at the time, I think. Yeah, so I just sent my resume and did an interview. They liked me. That was it. All
right. Not the crazy story I was expecting, but I don't know what I was expecting.
What were you expecting?
I don't know. Maybe you're in a bloody gunfight and you saved Lewis's life. I don't know. Anything?
No, sadly, it's a pretty typical getting a job story.
That's right. So what's sort of been a joke or a sketch that's taken you the longest from coming up with the idea to performing it?
So more like the writing process has taken a really long time? Is that what you're talking about?
Just in general, like from point A to point B.
Point B being release, or point being filming?
Yeah, release. Release or performance, whether it be like a stand-up bit.
Oh, okay, right. I mean, so a lot of the short ones, let me get my phone out just so I have a scroll, see if I remember anything. A lot of the short ones take a long time because it will take me a long time to find a twist to something. So sometimes I'll have little notes of like a premise or something that I'll have in my notebook for a long time. I just won't think of a punchline for months or whatever, and then I'll come back to it and I'll be like, oh, there's something in there.
Yeah.
Not sure if I'm going to be able to find anything right now. But and then I guess the other thing is some of them take a really long time to edit, so that's another consideration. Like that 6-way standoff sketch I did took so long. Some of the interrogation sketches get filmed over like probably a week, like 4 nights or something.
Yeah. Because
I was doing it by myself, and they're just a nightmare to film. I guess from idea to, I think it would have to be one of those that I would just like have an idea about months and months in advance, and don't do anything with for a while.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if I'm going to find anything for you though here.
That's all right. Was the 6-way standoff the longest one for you to edit, or the longest video for you to edit?
It would have been either that or one of the interrogation lights. Right. I think, yeah, the YouTube ones have been, some of them getting like honestly just too ambitious. I just shouldn't be doing that. It's fucking destroying me. The ones where it's just like 2 characters, they're such a breeze. They're such a breeze to edit.
What's probably the most ambitious idea that was very quickly shot down when you tried to actually execute it?
Well, when you say try to execute, I mean, I'm pretty good at like knowing what my limits are because like I went to film school. I know what's possible. I know what I can do. And I have a reasonably good intuition of like what's going to work and stuff. So I don't think there's been anything that I've like, nothing long on YouTube. Short ones, yes, I do discard some of those, but I don't think there's been anything like long form that I've like tried and then be like, oh, that's not gonna work. But again, there's probably a bunch of ideas that I've like, I don't know if this is probably not really what you're looking for, but I'll tell you this idea that I've had in my notes for so long and I can't get it to work. I just keep thinking about it every goddamn week. I can't figure it out. The premise is, the trope of like you get like one phone call, like he gets into prison or whatever, and they're like you get your one phone call. That's the premise, and then all I have at the moment is like one phone call, and he like dials something. It's like a little bit of a pause, and then he's on the phone. He's like, can I get a large fries and like something like that? Where he's like calling someone ridiculous, but I cannot think of a twist to it. Right. So
would that be a quick Instagram one or a long YouTube one?
Yeah, that would be a quick one. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not a comedy writer. It's kind of one of those jokes where that's sort of already expected. Like there's a sketch show, or the sketch show did one similar. Have you seen that?
I have not.
Okay.
No.
So basically the concept is that he goes to somebody's house and it's raining and he's like, oh, can I please, just borrow your phone? My car's broken down or whatever.
Yeah.
He's on the phone and he's like,
what are you wearing?
and it's like he's called a sex hotline and that's the joke.
Right.
So that's the first thing that came to my mind, and I don't know anything else I don't know any punchlines that you could do for that one as well.
Exactly. With the short ones, usually the first punchline is like, I don't know, hopefully it's good, but then it's like it never ends at the first punchline. So there's always some sort of a twist to it, which is I think why people really like what I do. You know, there's always something unexpected.
There's always a twist at the end that puts it on its head. Yeah. I mean, the twist could be that he just calls someone to help him, because no one would expect no twist from you, so...
That's good.
It's not good. You don't have to be nice.
I was being sarcastic.
So with 2020 and 2021 mostly being in lockdown, has it been easier for you to write sketches, or has it been harder because there's sort of been no stories to kind of write about?
Well, as I was saying before, the sketches are always super conceptual. It means sort of like the concept is the core and the key to it. It's not like observational or anything like that. It's all about the concept is like the most important thing rather than necessarily the execution or the acting or whatever it is. So to answer your question, no, lockdown has not made that harder because it's all, I just go for a walk and I think of comedy concepts and premises, and just like that thing with the we were just talking about with the you get one phone call. That's just a concept, and I'm like, okay, that's a concept. Where can I take that? So that doesn't require any like me being out of the house, you know.
Well, a lot of your sketches and that are like interrogation and crime and stuff like that, so it's kind of good that it's not relating to your personal experiences. So
yes, you'd hope not, otherwise I'd be in trouble. Yeah.
So of course you're still starting out with comedy being sort of your job. So what is sort of, would you say, is your biggest accomplishment with comedy being your job, or sort of just in your comedy career?
Biggest accomplishment? I don't really have many accomplishments yet. I'm going to do a full show at the festival this coming year.
Sweet.
So that will be a big accomplishment, and I think I'm going to be really proud of the show. It's not complete yet, but I'm proud of what's in it so far. I think it's going to be really great. But apart from that, what have I done, man? What have I done? Golly. What have I achieved? You're making me...
Oh shit, sorry.
You're making me doubt myself. I'm worthless. Fuck. I don't know. What's an achievement, you know? I haven't won anything, or you know, like I'm proud of most of the sketches that I put out. So they're all achievements, I guess. I don't know. Give me an example.
I probably should have asked this in a couple of days, but fingers crossed you'll win Guest of the Year on Luke and Lewis's Lugies. So,
Oh,
you know,
true.
in a
true,
couple
yeah.
of days, if I ask the same question, then you can...
That's true. That'll be an accomplishment.
Actually, this will probably take a couple of weeks to edit. So do you want to just be like, do you want to just have you say you won the Lugies just in case?
Yeah, I won the Lugies, obviously. So yeah. Thanks for everyone's votes and woohoo! I won that's my biggest accomplishment. I won the Lugies, guys.
Can I see the ring?
There you go. No, I sold it already. So.
The winner of Guest of the Year 2021 is Reuben Solo! Give it up for Reuben Solo!
The shortest man in Australian comedy.
So what's some sort of advice regarding stand-up that you wish somebody had told you, sort of leading into going for it?
I don't think with stand-up there's any advice you can really give anyone when you start out. You just have to do it. I guess maybe I sort of wish like someone had pushed me to pursue it a little harder at the start, like in 2019, but I don't know, it's all worked out. You know, it doesn't, who cares? I guess, yeah, if I could do anything different, it would be maybe start a bit earlier. But yeah, with stand-up especially, it's just like, you just have to learn by doing it. You can't give anyone advice because it's just like when you get up there for like the first few times, you're still just figuring out how to take the mic out of the goddamn mic stand. You know, it's like, there's not much anyone can tell you that'll help. Really, you just got to do it.
It's one of those things where it relies solely on you, so no one can really tell you how to be you.
Yeah, that's true as well. I mean, it's not like you can't give advice to like. It's not like you can't teach comedy. You can't give advice to people doing stand up. Of course you can, but I think those first few months, it's just like the only advice you can really give someone is just like get through it.
Yeah,
just do it. Get through it. Keep going because it will absolutely suck, but you'll start to figure it out eventually.
Do you remember the first joke you told on stage, or was it sort of a bunch of little jokes that kind of you don't remember?
Yeah, I do. I had a whole bit, so I did for my first set, which would have been like a 5-minute set, but probably was like 4 minutes because I was nervous or something. It was a whole routine. I think it was about Bunnings. I'm not sure if there was something before that. There were 2 bits.
Be careful what you say. I work at Bunnings.
Do you? Yeah. No, there's nothing defamatory about it. There was a bit about my parents being deaf, and then there was a bit about Bunnings. Neither of which I do anymore, but both I think were kind of probably not that bad actually, because I spent so long writing and refining them.
Right.
So even though there was probably parts of it that were terrible and parts of it I often find actually with like stand up, a lot of people that start stand up, and also for me, you write bits in your head, they're stand up, but then like with hindsight or when you're watching someone else do it, it's like they're clearly doing an impression of stand up.
Right.
Like they're sort of trying to hit those cadences and write jokes that they think is sort of stand-up-esque. But yeah, for some reason it just doesn't work. So that would have been sort of what those jokes were for me. They were kind of like not too polished, but like they would have been. You would have watched them and be like, something seems a bit off about this.
Like it seemed a bit scripted, or.
Oh, well, obviously it was scripted.
Well, yeah.
But maybe just the way I was doing it or the way the jokes were written was like, I don't know, it was, I can't really describe it any other way than like, it looks like an impression of someone doing stand-up.
So like you mentioned before you're doing a comedy festival. What's some things that we can expect to see from it? Is there any, like, can you tell us anything about it?
Sure. What can I tell you about it? Don't know the name of it yet.
Right.
But it'll be Reuben Solo. I'll be on my name will be there somewhere.
Cool.
And What can I say without like giving it away and stuff? I mean, it's not like there's anything to give away really.
Unless you actually tell the jokes, then.
There's stuff about like there's a lot of observational stuff, but it sort of mixes that with some more absurdist elements, and there are a lot of bits that I really like, especially that are kind of playing with stand-up tropes,
Right.
and it gets a bit more alternative. Like there's stuff that I wouldn't say parody necessarily, but like play with the idea of like doing impressions and like having like notes written for yourself and intermissions, and there's all these little things that are kind of weird and quirky that you probably wouldn't see your typical stand-up person doing, but it's also not like super left field alternatives.
So like little hints of meta comedy and self-awareness, or?
No, I think the word meta gets overused and misappropriated. So no, I wouldn't call it meta or self-aware, but some people may, I guess.
Well, I will, so.
Go for it.
Oh, also, I just realized you've got the videos, like, is this man sponsored by Arnott's and Nestle? Did you notice anything about the background, or?
You got the tin of Milo in the background.
Yep.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, I've got...
and TV Snakes, is that by Arnott's, is it?
Yeah. Actually, you can't... Oh, there we go. It's Lewis Spears' YouTube's figure as well.
Lewis. I see Lewis,
I was kind of sitting in front of it a little bit, but yeah. I don't know if anyone's going to pick up on the Milo and the TV Snacks, but just thought it'd be a bit of fun to have a little reference to your videos there, so...
I certainly didn't, but that's great. Thanks for listening there. Much appreciated.
That's right. I was going to have Bic as well from your recent video, but you can't really hide that on a wall, so...
You could have just been spinning it in your hand.
Damn it, I have a pencil, but it's not by Bic, so...
It's not a Bic.
I'm sorry,
Shame,
I've disappointed you. The interview's gone to shit now. Yeah, thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to answer some questions.
Thanks for having me. And I don't know who's going to listen to this, but I don't know who your audience is. If they don't already know who I am, feel free to follow me on wherever. And that's it. Thank you.